All right, so this is episode 49. Way to end 2020. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of good stuff. Talking about like how do we feel about this whole stimulus package that's recently been passed. How we feel about, New Year's, new me, whatever that saying is, right? And how we feel, Joe Biden being in office. We could talk about how crypto took a dive on Coinbase and being delisted and having their lawsuit. So we're going to be talking about all that good stuff.
Sounds good.
Alex and Michael.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about the stimulus. I know Michael wants to. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I got a lot of opinions on that. I know Michael is the professor.
By the way, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, I missed you on the last one.
He was all over on the IG live.
We know you guys missed that one.
Answering all the questions. Appreciate you.
No problem.
I got interesting thoughts on the stimulus. Questions for Michael.
I think it's a bunch of shit.
Well,
I think it's insulting to us, to be honest.
do you think it's going to be used? Well, first of all, do you think it's going to be used how stimulus is supposed to be used? Because I don't know if you guys listening know, stimulus money is supposed to be spent to stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
But I feel like people have been not working and they've been obviously chilling. So I don't think they're going to spend their stimulus check. I think they're going to save it out of scarcity. So therefore, it doesn't really work. What are your thoughts on that?
We can hope that they save it, because if they see for what you and I have been talking about with the housing situation, like, granted, $600 isn't going to do shit.
Yeah.
People are behind $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on their mortgages or rent, whatever it may be.
Credit cards.
Credit cards are maxed out. In fact, they did a story. Actually, I was watching the news earlier.
Yeah.
Credit cards are at all-time highs right now for usage. So,
but you got to realize too, like, most of these people are giving them out too. Like, even regarding, like, if you have so much inquiries in your credit history, like, they're like, oh, well, we need it. Like, we need the customers to keep acquiring credit cards.
But if they save it, it doesn't help the economy. It only hurts it more. That's kind of the bad thing.
Now,
this is for
right
everyone.
now, it's like, fuck the economy, protect
everyone
yourself.
is just like, yo, they're trying to make their buck for what it is.
But $600, I think what should be done with it is it should be spent, because it's not enough to take care of any bills. It's just enough to possibly take care of a couple credit card bills, right? And that's just to get over to the next month. The average spending for Christmas per family was $1,800, so you're only getting back a third of that. That's not going to nearly cover anything.
Yeah.
So how much does it cost to take your real estate license?
$500, $600 maybe.
Yeah. So look, why don't you go do that?
Exactly.
Or why don't you take $600 and do something with it that's going to give you a skill that's going to be able to, go through whatever's going to happen. Now, if we have the housing situation happen, it's almost going to be a perfect time, because that's going to be for new beginnings anyway. It's like the housing reset, right? The average reset every 7 years, whatever it may be. So it'll be a good time for somebody who's brand new to start being able to sell homes at a lower cost, get that practice in, et cetera, to build yourself up. It's a perfect time for that. But we've been talking about over the whole year of investing in yourself and trying to do something and create a trade that is going to take you through this. And Forex is going to be ultimately the number one thing, because currencies aren't going anywhere, but, if you don't want to do Forex,
do something.
Do real estate, do something, and take that $600 and make it useful, because it's not going to pay for any bills. People fucked up out from the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Because the first one was $1,200, and at that point it was, we don't know how long this is going to be. We expect, vaccines, this, that, and the other, because of Corona. Well, Corona lasted all year, and then some. Ken and I have been talking about that.
And there's
when
this
you came
new
home, we were
strain
talking
that's
about that.
coming out again.
Bro, there's two new strains. UK has one right now, and they're completely shut down, which is why Brexit took a fall on its face. It didn't do anything. It was shit. But I think if people want to understand what's going on, look deeper into the stimulus bill.
Yeah.
That's what really got me, is we're getting $600, but did you guys see how much money is being given to other countries?
Yeah.
Like Cambodia?
Yeah, like countries are fully getting taken care of. And
there's 15 other countries
you always got to
getting
take
money.
care.
From America?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. I bet most people didn't
Totaling
know that.
over $1 billion.
Dang.
We have that
getting
saying
printed.
that you always got to take care of home court. And home court's not getting taken care of. So
Nope. We have no home court advantage.
About, potential partnership down the road. It's how I see it. So,
well, that brings us going into next year. People should be aware of what Michael's always talking about: inflation, currency debasement, fiat currency. If you guys don't know what that means, that means we're printing lots and lots of money, kind of out of thin air. That means your money in your bank is not worth as much as you thought it was. And fiat currency itself, that means dollars, euros, pounds, is going to devalue over the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So you guys should, I think a good topic too is how are you going to protect yourself from that? What are you going to do? Are you going to buy commodities? Are you going to buy gold, silver, crypto? What are you going to invest in to protect yourself from that? Because if you just put $5,000 in the bank and you let it sit there, it's going. It's not going to do anything for you.
We already see that as of right now, if you pull up the DXY, a dollar's only worth 89 cents. And what did I have it going to 2 months ago? 88 and some change? It's almost at that support. If it breaks that support, it's going down to 73 and some change. Meaning that our dollar is going to be worth less than 3/4.
We got an interesting question here. Stimulus reason why you think Trump increased it and how it will affect the economy.
The reason why he wanted to increase it, which, by the way, for anybody that's listening, that $2,000 request got shot down by Mitch McConnell like 3 hours ago. So we are not getting $2,000. It passed the House.
Staying at 600. So
we weren't even going to get that. The only reason we were even getting that and why Mitch McConnell even agreed to that is because he's afraid of losing the 2 seats in the runoff vote for Georgia.
So why do you think Trump wanted 2,000 instead of 600?
Because he looked for 2 reasons. He looked at what we were giving other countries and knew right offhand we're not getting what we should be getting. Right?
Yeah.
So the other thing is that his whole goal from day one is to drop the U.S. dollar value. The more money you give, the lesser the value of the dollar that's going to be. So if we'd have got, $2,000 over three times what we would have had, we probably would have seen within the next week or so the dollar drop down to 78 cents or so.
Oh yeah,
on its way down to that final support. So he wants a weak dollar. The more that they give out, the weaker it's going to be. So there's your 2 reasons exactly as to why.
It's a good question, whoever asked that.
Yeah.
It's a great question.
Another question we have is, where else do you look for news besides Forex Factory regarding to what we're talking about with the stimulus package?
Just go with the professor on that.
For me, I'm literally Googling just keywords. U.S. dollar news today, Brexit news today, right? Yeah. And you're going to find that there's dozens and dozens of different topics you're going to find.
And basically anything to even break down that even question is that you got to read what you're looking at, especially with a lot of like the news articles, right? If things are not going to be benefiting for our country, it's not good. So you got to look at to what pairs is going to actually benefit from that, right? We all know the whole world's against U.S. So like everything that's not with the U.S. dollar correlated, like GU, if we have a lot of stuff that's negative with the US dollar, then you're going to be doing the complete opposite of what GU is going to be doing. So you can be buying that, right? So it's just like, it's a lot of common sense. It's just that you got to look at the news and read if it's going to benefit for the US or not. So Bloomberg is a great outlet. We got, what else?
Investing.com,
investors.com,
FinScreener,
Daily FX.
I put, as simple as it is, I have the CNBC app on my phone, and it sends me push notifications all the time. And actually, I'm looking at it right now. This helps me a lot because at the top you'll see news, and during the day it'll have the tickers running of US 30, NAS, all of them, and then you'll see all the tickers for all the indices. And you have news sections. For me, I actually like the CNBC app. It's simple, but it's right to my phone. It's push notifications.
I love CNBC, but I take the news lightly when it comes to Fox, CNBC, and CNN. Those are your main 3 media outlets, and a lot can be manipulated through that emotionally. So I always have to take things with a grain of salt. If I see it on CNBC, I'll try and back it up with other type of websites. I'll look for those topics and find out, okay, well, let me put these puzzle pieces together. And of course, you start using market structure. If you learn just basic market structure in Forex, you can find which articles are correct. That's the ironic thing about
it. It's always going to be there.
It's right in front of you. We see the blueprint, but a lot of people can't read those candlestick charts. If you learn how to just read basic of it and see kind of just market structure, double tops, double bottoms, etc., what's supposed to happen, there's a double top on DXY on the daily and weekly or weekly. if that means it's on the weekly, it's going to be going down for quite some time. Yeah. So look at everything that's happening afterwards, you know, and we see, okay, our stimulus took a shit. We weren't even supposed to get that $600, but they finally settled. And then, okay, well, let's drive the market down a little bit more because we're giving money. Now we have a second and third strain of the corona, which is going to end up coming back over here. Shut down city.
It was actually, I was reading an article, it was actually found in the U.S.
I'm not surprised. So I'm not surprised, especially with Christmas traveling, New Year's traveling, holiday traveling.
The main commodity of where everyone is at the airport. So everyone's coming from different destinations. Everyone's gonna be catching something, you know. And we all know if you're going to the hospital and you're looking for that. What we even recently talked about, how people are getting paid through insurance to say that you're diagnosed with COVID. So
to get that message,
you know,
tripped me out.
Honestly, like going to the hospital, like it's another hotspot. Like if you're sick, just, you know, pull on strong and sing the American anthem and just pray that you could go through it. But, you know, everything is it's a hustle right now. Like, especially with the government, this is just a blueprint to how everything's been played. Like,
you guys know the biblical portion of this whole situation, right?
Yeah.
That there's supposed to be 2.6 billion vaccine doses that are given. There's 7.8 billion people in the world, and in the biblical sense, there's 1/3 of the population that gets killed off.
Yeah.
2.6 billion is exactly 1/3.
That's a scary thought, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not getting that.
Well,
I just
that math equation 3.16 really comes accurate right now.
I look at those things and like, I mean, could it be true? I don't know. I mean, the Bible was written by an individual, right? So there's supposed to be words that come
everything
down.
is coming aligned with the Bible. If you kind of really look at it, you know, we don't really want to dive into the religious aspect of it, but it's kind of, you know, playing out.
I look at, well, what could cause that $2.6 billion person like infection? Well, guess what? Moderna is now the leading, the leading vaccine provider. It actually took over Pfizer and BioNTech.
Yeah,
and that must have happened pretty recently.
It did.
In the last 2 weeks, maybe.
A week and a half. Last Monday, it was used for emergencies.
But even the CEO of, I think it was Pfizer, he sold like at least 60% of his shares.
Of course.
Yeah, when he found out like people were getting the reactions of what HIV positive testing, right? So this is all about making money. Like, as fucked up as it sounds, it's all about money.
Well, people could go back to past podcasts because I warned everybody of the Moderna one.
Yeah.
The Moderna one is dangerous when you look at the connections.
Yeah, I was at my barbershop today, and shout out to my guy Dre. He was showing me a few of his people actually voluntarily taking the vaccine.
The Moderna one?
Yeah, the Moderna one. It had it on the slip.
Oh my God.
And it's just like, oh my God. Like, so.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to go any further with it. I've warned a lot of people about the Moderna one.
Yeah.
But that's just a deep wormhole you can go down for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah. Because then you're talking about multiple conspiracies, and then I look crazy. But I say, go ahead. Fucking take it. Yeah. If you don't care, I don't.
All right. What can I do? We have another question. When should we expect clarity with XRP on the SEC lawsuit?
Well, I was going to say...
go ahead, Alex. Crypto is your world. Crypto is your world.
He's been watching Cryptoni. What's it?
Cryptopia?
Yeah.
I do deal with a lot of crypto.
Pretty high, too. Like, you should see this guy just focus. He's like...
I already know.
He's like the blockchain.
Well, that question, it almost doesn't matter because you have to realize crypto is a different entity. It almost doesn't matter with the lawsuit in a sense because it doesn't have the same regulations, right? You can still right now buy Ripple, buy XRP. It's completely legal in other countries. So just because it did decommissioned, and in my opinion, clarity is not going to happen with Ripple anytime soon. And in fact, my opinion, the reason it got taken off of, delisted off Coinbase, whatever it was, is because I think too many people were going to buy it when it was low.
Yeah.
I'm personally not messing with it. This is my opinion. I do a lot with crypto. I wouldn't mess with Ripple right now, which is my opinion. I'm not your financial advisor. Side note, but if you're, my question would be, why do you want clarity and what is your purpose with it? Are you trying to trade it on Forex? Go for it. Are you trying to buy and hold it? You still can. It's still going to be widely used. Go look at XRP in the Japanese market. So that's my opinion on it. You're not going to get any clarity anytime soon, but really, what would be your reason? My question would be, why? Why do you want clarity? Are you going to buy, hold it? Because there's plenty of others that you can buy and hold.
Yeah.
VeChain, Litecoin, Chainlink, Cardano, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to 50K probably by the end of February.
What was the other one? GMT, Graph?
Oh, Graph. Yeah, Graph. GRT. If you guys are listening, GRT. I'll give you guys a bunch of cool stuff. The Graph, GRT, Chainlink, VeChain, Litecoin, obviously Bitcoin. There's plenty of other opportunities to invest in that have less risk and less issues.
Yeah.
So that, knowing what you do within the crypto side, being that there's nothing that really backs it up. I mean, there's really nothing that backs up the U.S. dollar because, it literally is just a float based on currency strength of other countries. What do you think that when it comes down to it, that crypto is going to be more of an emotional base? Like, let's say, is it going to be more of a US 30 compared to, like, say, GU? GU is more of a structure. It's a Forex pair. So do you think that it'll be more of a technical structure, or do you think that it'll be a very emotional side, like where emotions can
fantastic push? Question. Over the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be very emotional, just like gold. Crypto, like Bitcoin, is going to be, like, gold is super emotional. It's very emotional. It does follow structure, but gold goes buck wild sometimes.
Yeah.
It will. It's going to be emotional until it settles down. And then I think the 2020s are when we face the fact, I think that this is my opinion, the train has left the station for debasing fiat currency. This is the decade where things shift to a different form of currency, where our whole economic exchange of currency, of buying and selling commodities, of money exchange, changes. By 2030, you guys go back and listen to this podcast, like, oh yeah, that guy said this was going to happen. That's going to happen. So I think for a little while it's going to be pretty wacky. Then we'll settle down to probably some technicals.
They're gonna ask if you're the real guy who creates the Simpsons.
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, the main reason is blockchain. And if you guys don't know what blockchain is, you should research it, how it works.
All right, so next question. When Brexit passes and the EU begins shifting holdings, what effect will that have on the market?
So good questions.
Brexit is already done.
Yeah.
Let's understand that first. Brexit is done. It was an absolute shit show for the UK.
Bor has played that up.
But
oh my God.
But let's talk about the timing when it got passed, right? Everyone wasn't awake, right? This was like around like almost like 2 MST time, our time, in the morning.
It started to pass, like when I was watching the charts, it was like around 11, like right at the beginning of London, right? So it was that overlap hour. Then we saw UK 100 just take a fat shit, just drop. And a lot of that was because the agreement was being announced, but it wasn't literally, oh, hey, we're going to have this agreement, we're done. No, what they were doing is they were sitting there talking about the terms and still arguing some of them out. I was watching some of this as it was live going on.
Yeah.
They were arguing over fish.
That sounds pretty tasteful.
And what I mean by fish is who controls the international waters between what the European Union owns and what the UK owns. And the UK was fighting for 57% of control of the waters, which allows them to actually take a bigger portion of the trade when it comes to fishing items. You know, your shrimp, fish, etc., right? Your foods. So they settled for 35%. They took a 22% loss on that. So when you're sitting there talking about what's going to cause your currency to become strong, a currency in demand, and you're literally taking almost a third of what, you're a quarter of what you're asking for and just letting it go, like those negotiations sucked.
Yeah.
I would have hated to be part of the UK knowing that Boris Johnson is sitting here and like agreeing to these terms.
I don't think Boris is very well liked right now in London.
He shouldn't be.
Well, he's not.
He shouldn't be. He just said
it's a hard position, to also look out for your country and do what's right, you know? So it's like, especially how this year has been going, it's been one hell of a roller coaster ride.
So we should see GBP pairs continuing to tank. Great. Yep. The Brexit was positive for the currency, which is why we saw it push up that night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, UK 100 opened up. It opened up during Asian session and it popped up and it took off. And it's a huge gap that after it took off, now it's also coming down as well too. So
yep, it has what's it called? And I warned people of this within Discord when they were trading it because I was like, you're going to see some games being played. Yeah. And we saw a lot of them being played that night. Mm-hmm. And so there's two patterns that are on the 4-hour chart for UK 100. One is a rising wedge. The other one was a head and shoulders. Both of them bearish patterns. It needs to come down. There's massive imbalance that it needs to fill as well.
Massive.
So
on all indices as well. So
when those start crashing, because we're seeing the same thing happen on the US side as well, it's reaching high points. Like we saw what the US side just dropped today. Right? We're going to see, I think if I'm going to put a thumbprint on what's going to happen is February, March, into that time, make sure that your Forex accounts are ready for trading because we are going to see massive corrections.
And I can't wait for that because that's how I was able to capitalize in 2018.
That's almost about when I started was like March 2020. And we were just rocking the indices. Remember?
It's going to be a similar situation.
It wasn't really rocking like how myself and Michael have saw it go down in 2018. Like,
well, shit, what we saw in February. I was calling. I called 7,000 pips from the airplane.
Yeah, I remember.
Get in and sell. Get in and sell. Get in and sell. Get in and sell.
It was
US 30 just said.
We had the most longest New York session for Zooms. Like literally from like 5:30 to almost like till the afternoon, and we were like, damn. I went. There was a time went to the gym, came back, and everyone was still on it. And I'm like, damn.
Yep.
I was like, could you guys just go? Like, you know, like it was fun though, because like we're able to capitalize on what's happening in our economy, which is not the most greatest words that you want to be telling a lot of people if they're not knowledgeable when it comes to trading. But when people are trading, those are the moves that we want to capitalize on.
Yeah, but to the masses, when we sit here and talk about this shit, we're crazy.
Yeah, but that's fine. You know, it's a way to stand out and be in your own lane.
And it's going to be those that call us crazy that are going to be first to saying, how the hell did you know?
How'd you know to sell that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you didn't fucking listen. Stop calling me crazy. How about that?
All right, so this question could go to all of us. I need to know what helped your psychology in trading with all the understanding. This is a probability game, which is right. And with that right risk to reward ratio, we can execute and hold on less emotions for yourself. Wow, that's like 3 questions in one. Coming in a trading world, like when it comes to psychology, like you need to go through it. There's no roundabout. There's no going in someone else's shoes because everyone's shoe size is going to be different, right, in life. So you have to go through obstacles. You have to go through like the losses. You have to go through when you're up in profit, or you know, just like the little things. Like it's like having a puzzle on the table, right? You have to go through every piece and shape size to actually fit. So you have to go through all those obstacles so you could be like, all right, I went through all that. I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to hold myself accountable, right? And then risk to reward ratio, it really depends on how much you're starting out and what you're able to risk. I like to go between from like 1 to 5 risk to reward. And just keep it tight, keep it simple. If I do hit my stop loss, great. You know, it's just possibility that it was an early entry, and it's gonna happen at times. You know, so like you could only hold yourself accountable for that. And then the emotion part, you're always gonna have emotions. You know, even though like I've been training for the past 6 years, Michael, 3?
Going on 3, 2.5, almost 3.
And Alex is still a rookie, but
baby.
By far he's killing it. But everyone's gonna still have emotions, like, you know, like even though like there'll be times I'll be like in drawdown, you know, like, ooh, like, damn, this shit is looking pretty red right now on my screen. But we're always gonna have emotions. It's always gonna be there. It's how you carry it, going on to the next trading position, how you want to look, that you want to stay consistent. Oh, hi.
Do we just have a special guest pop in the podcast?
Yeah,
was that a cameo?
I guess so.
No. But I hope that answers your question on that. Do you guys want to chime in on?
For me, it's literally two things: discipline and experience.
Yeah.
And you gain discipline from the experience.
Yep.
So there's no problem over leveraging when you're first starting out. You're going to lose your money. You're going to blow your account. But as long as you don't continue to make the same mistakes is the key. So learning from those mistakes. So experience will tell you all that. Mm-hmm. And then just applying it, discipline.
That saying that I always love to say, experience is the best teacher. Yep. So no one can tell you shit if you haven't experienced it. So
major facts.
Ooh, that was a bar. Damn.
Major facts. Type that out and enshrine that somewhere.
Yeah, I know Gordon's gonna make some magic happen. So
I think that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own. It's a process of becoming a mature trader.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is what your goal is.
Yeah.
It's not to be, I'm the coolest, flashiest trader. It's I'm a mature professional trader. It means I go, I do the same thing every day. I have a routine. I'm disciplined. I know when to take my profits. I know when to close. And for some, their journey is different. You know, for me, I might be a little bit different than some. My journey to becoming a mature trader was really, really quick. But that's also because I had YouTube, you know, and I think if I was just
damn, is he giving us congratulations?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's facts though. Like, and that's also, it's because you have to become kind of just a gracious, mature trader. Mm-hmm. Like the best traders that I know are not the ones who are in it to try and get these crazy money or get rich quick or buy Lambos or whatever. It's like, no, I've got my money. I'm safe. I'm financially secured. I enjoy trading. Like, I like it. I get up and I enjoy to trade. For me, I never really started to trade to make money. I just did it because I was like, I like what Ken does. This sounds fun, you know? And I think to answer the question, to handle your emotions is you need to learn to become a mature, disciplined trader. And that might take you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. And that's just on you and how much time and effort you put into it.
So some people it takes even longer than that.
Could take longer.
Yeah, like, but you gotta realize people go to school, right, to pay a degree that is not guaranteed. Mm-hmm. You know, I rather be putting into money. Yeah, I might be losing so much money in my trading account, but at least there's a white window that is gonna be guaranteed that I'm gonna get all of this. Like, you know, rather than getting a degree and show to your parents, and then it just sits there behind a plaque. And then
end up in the unemployment line.
Yeah, unemployment line. You need to start paying your loans immediately after like 3 months. Doesn't give you enough time to even get you a great job, like, you know. So I rather create my own freedom by learning a skill so that not only that I can adapt to myself, but pass down to if I potentially want to have kids, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a bigger game, which a lot of people are not willing to go through the struggle and the ups and downs. You're one step away of changing your financial life. You know, you could have that freedom that you've always been wanting to have, and that's the only difference. It's how you want to choose your time to create your future. Like, you gotta live your life as you're the artist. You are creating the design for your future. So like, and that's just the best way. Like, no one can ever take the skill set away from me, you know?
And speaking of jobs,
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see what happened with the vaccines and the EEOC?
No.
Mm-mm. The EEOC actually agreed that it is okay for jobs to force you to take it.
Oh, yeah. So
that was 2 weeks ago.
I actually wanted to really touch base on that.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you cannot sue for a wrongful termination if you don't want to get the vaccine.
Yeah. They're giving so much more power to the people that actually having and owning these corporations, right? Realize that we have the vaccine. It's not like fully mandatory nationwide, right? It's not being passed as a law. They're like, hey, you guys, we're going to leave it on you guys. You guys could
do it.
Yeah, you guys can mandatory it or if you want. And some people are taking full advantage on it, you know?
and this is why it's important to know, like, you're not going to see them come out and be like, oh, it's mandatory to do this. Or,
they're
like,
not.
There's a law that's going to pass you have to take a vaccine. That will never happen.
They know the world is not knowledgeable. That's the reason why they're taking full advantage. Give people a choice, and then let's see how the emotional intelligence is going to carry. And so far, they're over there in the background. They're like laughing. They're like, wow, we didn't even have to force anything harshly. And look at people voluntarily taking it. Because they need to survive. They're thinking about their families now, right? And then this goes back to the fact is why we talked about in our previous episode. I'm like, I don't care if you're making so much more money or you're not. You should still be able to have time to learn a skill set.
Yeah.
Always prepare for anything that's going to come across, like, you know. So when stuff like this is happening, you're like, wow, fuck this. I'm not going to be taking this vaccine. Like, I have a skill set that I could actually use to still keep continually to do what I love to do, right? But
so it was funny. I picked Venus up from work one day, and we were talking about this because she was like, babe, I can't go back to work. I have to go get a COVID test because one of her leads actually caught COVID. So she had to go get tested, and it was a week ago Saturday. She got the test back on Wednesday, right? So she was off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But we're sitting there talking, and I was like, so what happens if it comes back positive and you have to get the vaccine? They say you can't come back till you get the vaccine. She was like, well, fuck that. If they terminate me, then it's wrongful termination. The very next day, I'm like, oh, yeah? This is what... Look what happened. The EEOC literally said, nope, they can force. It's okay. If you're being forced to do something and put something into your body that you don't want, look at what's wrong with that. Ask questions. Like, there's wrong with all of this whole situation. So if you're not getting into a skill set, you're just setting yourself up to being one of these people that's going to be forced to do something you don't want to do anyway.
Yeah.
Against your own will. And that's dead wrong, if you ask me. I should never be forced to do anything.
Yep, I agree. These are some good questions we got.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely good questions.
If we have any more.
I'm glad they're not, hey, what do you see gold?
Okay, this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
How do you tune family or friends out that don't know about trading and don't really support your trading? This is an interesting one.
That is.
Very interesting.
Well, speaking from a family individual, I've got, Venus. I've got my mother who lives with me. My daughter, my grandkids. Right. It's a journey. You have to just at least trust in what your abilities are. If I'm going to give my 2 cents on this, is whatever your abilities that you feel are strong, to say this is what I want to do. It's just staying with it. Like, you have to be able to let it not bother you that they're going to talk shit. You're going to hear, oh, you haven't made any money yet. Oh, you haven't made any money yet.
Been there, done that.
Let me tell you this, though. When I can sit here and I can look at a chart and I can tell you what's going to happen with our economy, you're going to ask me, how did I know that? And I'm going to tell you it's because of Forex. So I'm being enriched in multiple different ways. To the point to where you don't know what the hell is going on. You can't handle a conversation.
Yeah, the education aspect is just so powerful. People have no idea.
Exactly.
They think you're just, I'm a day trader and pressing buttons, buying Delta Airlines, whatever.
It's like,
you're learning so much.
It comes down, just like how I previously mentioned, being knowledgeable. Like, if you're not knowledgeable, you're not going to understand. If you're not going to understand it, you're not going to be able to see how that person is capitalizing on it. So it's just like, I know, like, I went through this as well, too. I had myself dropping out of college when I was a sophomore, and my mom was telling me to go get a job, and I got involved in trading. And I had people that was telling me this is a waste of time, like, you're not going to make any money. There were times I blew my account several times, and they're like, oh, this is not for you. Like, I had my brother, took a while for him to get involved in trading. My little brother didn't even get involved. My mom was just down talking me the most, like, and people that you feel like they want to support you and think that, what you should be doing is right because that's what they know. And that's fine. Like, people only have a certain extent to knowledge, right? And I was the person that refused to be capped, There's more to just working for someone instead of just building your own dreams. So you're going to have people that are not going to understand, and that's fine. Like, this is why trading is you versus the charts. You're not doing this to impress family. You're not doing this to say like, hey, I finally made profits. You're doing this for yourself because you're going through the journey yourself. That adversity is going to also teach you outside of the charts on how you should go about life, how you should appreciate life, how you could actually get out of your own comfort zone and start to tap into do a lot of different things, being more financially free. So it's more than just about proving your family and tuning them out. It's all aspects of your mindset and how you want to carry about it. So I hope that answers your question as well too, because trading is a self journey, It's how you want to make it. You could be successful. You could be the worst trader. By all means, no one's going to judge you. They're just going to be like, oh, okay, he's trading. He is actually in a step of trying to somewhat improve his life. So
what about you, Alice? What type of things did you have facing you when you started? Did you have the same thing?
People just didn't understand, and they were just so confused. Like what? They either didn't believe it was real, especially when I started posting my MT4.
Of course.
Yeah, which was probably, I will admit, a little more abnormal than maybe the average trader. Maybe not, but I got for sure criticism like, oh, that's not real. I'm like, okay, well, actually, that is real. I didn't deal with it a lot because I didn't really put it out there too much other than just, hey, I'm doing this. This is me. And I really didn't care at all. Just me emotionally, I didn't really care about it at all. I was like, I'm just going to do whatever I want either way. Because I knew that I wanted to, and I just enjoyed it. I was like, I like this. I don't care if you have an opinion on what I'm doing. I'm trading. I don't really care if you want to trade. I don't care if you like if I trade, because I like it. It's fun. Yeah, right. I like hopping on Ken's New York sessions and Michael's classes. Like, I'm learning some really cool stuff. So that was always in my head is, yeah, I did have some criticism. I did have a lot of questions for sure. But I was just like, whatever. I don't really care, because it wasn't really about the money for me. It was entertaining me, and it was fun, and it still is fun. And that's probably why I've had success with it, because like I like it. It's fun. You guys know how I am in the group text.
I think that speaks to your personality though, because you have a risky bone. You know what I mean? Like, you love investments. Shit, you're a hella successful real estate agent. You know what I mean? So that type of mindset, you're already in that, well, I'm kind of in, sink or swim when it comes to, the market itself. Like, I think that the real estate mindset has a great mindset to start off with Forex, because you already know, like I said, sink or swim.
Pretty much. That's how it's been for me the last 8 years. So 9 years, sink or swim.
You have a mentality of, I'm going to do this regardless of what anybody else says. Somebody coming from a 9-to-5 that's used to being told, hey, this is how good you were this past year, I'm going to give you a 1% raise. Or, oh,
that's
hey,
actually a really good way of putting it.
Rewarding.
Yeah. By the way, like, you're going to get the minimum type of bonus, or you don't get anything at all this year. Oh, by the way, I think you should change this throughout this year. You go and change it, nothing changes for you, like, for the better, right? You're used to somebody telling you every single day what the hell to do. Like, you live your life, like, let's just call it a sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that there's a different mentality within that. So I was just curious, because you already have that mindset to go into Forex and be like, well, fuck everybody
I kind of just
else.
wander. That is actually a really good breakdown, because I really just do wander down my own path every day. I mean, like, I've been wandering down my own path pretty much by myself for many, many years now. Yeah, I have people around me, and I've built teams and companies, but like, in general, every day I walk my own little path. I just stay in my own lane and do what I want, pretty much. And I haven't had a boss, and I haven't had anybody tell me what to do in 8 years.
And it's a beautiful thing.
So I just do my own thing. Yeah.
Like, if you don't get up in the morning and go get your leads or whatever it may be, and you just sit there at your desk,
I'm a host.
Well, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you don't get up and get your ass on these charts, the market's going to move without you regardless, you know? So it's kind of, I think that's a more simplistic version of what I was saying, you know? Because I could sit at my desk if I'm working, like, let's just say I was working at PayPal. I can just sit at my desk and do nothing and get paid.
Yeah.
And what good does that do?
Yeah, I haven't been able to do that for many, many years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think understanding that mentality, if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, then this should be something very easy for somebody to get into. It's not, I'm not saying the task itself is simple, but the mentality portion of it can be placed into a box that's a little bit differently. But if you're a 9-to-5er,
it's going to be way harder for you to trade.
Absolutely.
Really hard for you to trade.
Absolutely. There's a lot that you have to check at the fucking door.
Yeah, there's really a lot for you to trade.
All right, so we got Kels. You know, he's part of Blue Cap. He said, how did learning about Forex show you the values and dislikes on the world you live on before it? Click.
Man. I think that's a loaded question because
that is a loaded question.
Because you
who
can
asked
see
that question?
Kels, he's in Blue Cap.
Yeah, I know who he is.
I think I'll answer it. It definitely showed me a lot of values. Just not like, I would say like, you know, what we see definitely in our generation, in our world, and stuff like that, like how you see people mistreat people. You see people that don't take opportunities very seriously when it's being presented, and stuff like that. So like when trading came into the picture, I knew that this was going to be a mindset battle. Hands down question. This is something I'm not familiar with. I was not knowledgeable about how this could potentially change my life. I just was really concerned of like, all right, how long is this journey going to take me? You know, just for me to have a click, you know? And when I got involved in trading, I wanted to master the skill set. This wasn't about making money or anything at all. I wanted to really learn it and say that I have a skill set that no one could take away. And that's what I saw from trading. And the value started to change when I was up late nights. The times where a lot of people could go out and turn up and be with their friends and escaping reality. I was in my room bumping Drake, drinking Bang energy drinks. And I found that that was way more valuable than just going out, you know, having a hangover and not appreciating what I should be truly be doing if I really want to change my mom's situation, right? Because I watched her struggle from the ground up and watched her become very successful. So like it was kind of like a slap in the face for me not to value what she did for me to have a better life, right? So going through the trenches on trading, like that really helped a lot. Like, you know, so thinking about where I was from and where I'm currently now, being more grateful about opportunities and how you could actually use this skill set to change your life. Not only your life, but if a person is in dire need to learn a skill set, you could be that person and be like, hey, look, if you have a record, that's fine. You dropped out of school, that's fine. Like, you know, like you don't need to have the most, you know, qualifying credentials for you to learn this skill set. Like anyone could do it, but it takes really a strong mindset to go through the barriers, you know, losing money, able to having money, like, you know, so like you got to go through those steps and barriers. So values, when it comes to trading, it teaches you a lot because we all know becoming a trader, you're going to be alone a lot. And those are the times that you're going to really know who you are as a person, knowing if you're an aggressive trader, knowing that if you're very conservative, knowing that you're a scalper, you just want to make your money, you're done and call it a day. You get to know what you want out of life. You know, you start manifesting things that you truly want and want to live in or want to travel to. So like you have a lot of time to yourself, to find values and find out who you really want to be in the world. You know, what kind of value that you want to be giving out. If you want to be a good person, you want to be a bad person. If you're all about the clout, like, you know, so it really starts to define you as your journey continually keeps growing. So But before it clicked, that's what I was. I was just a college athlete. And I thought what I was doing was to become an engineer, and that's not what I wanted to envision myself. So when it was like kind of like ending of like my second year of trading, that's when it started to click. Then I just started being persistent, started being conservative with my capital, because I didn't want to be that kind of person that makes a lot of money and then becomes, oh, you hear that about that dude that made all that money and then you don't hear from him again, like he's broke now. Like, I didn't want to set that example for other people that I know that's going to be looking at my story as a testimonial. So but once it clicks, you're going to know, you're going to feel good. Your mindset is going to be stress-free. You're going to enjoy the freedom, and all the little things that you felt like it wasn't valuable before, it's going to be very valuable now. So
you want to add to that, Alex?
Yeah, trading just gives you a kind of, you guys are gonna laugh at this, but like a newborn baby mindset. Like every day you have to, because most people like, and you guys just follow me here, you'll get what I'm saying. Most
like
people just go through the life and they're not seeking new knowledge. But when you're a trader, like every day you really are looking for new knowledge. You constantly, you're like, I'm reading things, I'm watching the news. Like you really are, you have like this mindset of wanting to learn more, and you have to have that mindset. That's probably the coolest thing.
Yep.
Like you guys have heard me on this podcast before say, I didn't know what Dow Jones was or NASDAQ, because I saw them. Now I know everything about them. And that's probably the coolest part, is you just have this natural like, oh, I'm just everything is new. Because the charts are always same, up and down, highs and lows and highs, double tops, but there's always new correlations, there's news, there's things happening, there's Forex Factory, kind of like Michael's forte is the news. I mean, you're learning things. You're learning what's going on in the world. Yeah, straight to the point. That's the best part of it, is it's a journey of learning that really never ends.
Yeah.
Right? And if you think it ends, probably not that good of a trader.
Yeah.
There are times I'm just literally like, all right, I'm waking up to see the news because I want to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm curious of what's going to happen today.
Yeah.
But overall, Forex has, I'm gonna take a different angle on the value side. I see people that go out, they learn Forex, or people that have already been doing Forex, and you get to start identifying the sharks that are feeding off of the tadpoles. And what I mean by that are the people that are brand new, that are learning, that want to learn, and they're looking for that person to trust. They get taken. $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. All it was a scam to the person who took the money, but to the person that got taken, that's a black eye on the Forex industry, because they're like, oh, I don't want to do that.
It gives out a bad message that they think that Forex is just,
it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam,
right? So there's a value in that I see, where when you hop on one of our calls, you're literally getting any and everything that we have. Like, I go through a lot of research and a lot of information to be able to say, this is what I think is going to be happening. So when I have these conversations, there's education backed behind it.
Yeah.
But I take that time. So a lot of the students don't necessarily have to, or they start gaining that interest in doing so and started doing it on their own. Just like you had the question, what other things besides Forex Factory do you use? There's a lot of things that I use, but it's mentally how I put the puzzle piece together. But that value of knowing that of what I'm providing is valuable to somebody gives me a different respect for the industry itself. The other side, on the personal side, is that I've identified a lot of things within myself that I never valued before in life. I was the one in high school, no homework, pass all the tests, right? 14, almost 1,500 on my SATs without having to do shit. Didn't go to college, right? Just breeze through it. I was looking to just get ahead by doing nothing. So by being able to apply myself, I've learned a lot within myself, where I'm like, hey, I have discipline to start learning this. And then I start learning values within myself of, hey, how my time is spent, where my time goes, what information am I given, who am I giving it to, right? It kind of puts that under a microscope to say, you know what, there's a lot of value within myself that I could provide to a lot of people. And if you'd have asked me maybe 4 or 5 years ago, just taking a political stance. You would have heard me say that I probably would consider myself a Democrat because I'm all about helping individuals. But the way that I see a lot of these things happen, because of the knowledge that I've gained, I now have a value that tells me I have Republican views as well, so I consider myself an actual independent. I don't consider myself one side or the other.
Research.
Yeah.
But it's that knowledge that I'm like, hey, you know what? I've learned a lot within myself of what I appreciate and what I don't need to make better choices within my life overall. So it's not just looking at bar patterns and candlestick patterns all day and making money. There's a lot that goes into it when you really take advantage of what's available to you.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I love it. Another question here we have. The biggest lesson for you on 2020?
That's a great question.
That is.
Biggest lesson.
I would say, especially for myself, I would say biggest lesson for me is becoming more of a leader this year than I ever was. Because most of you guys know my story on my first company. I wouldn't say I would like to call myself a leader because I was running a company with two other individuals, but it was learning from that. And I know Michael have answered every single call of frustration. And, I'm not the type of person that voice out a lot of my frustrations. I just keep it to myself and keep pushing. But
we've had some calls.
Yeah, had some calls. But I said my lesson was definitely this year, learning to take the leadership role and holding myself accountable for my actions. Showing an example and how things should be marketed, how things should be, with content wise, like how it should be displayed. How does it look from a third point of view from our students viewing our academy, right? So I'm always thinking like I'm in a back seat to the situation, and just having a better viewpoint, becoming a better communicator. Because most of you guys know, like I just grind and put my head down, and then I just keep going, and sometimes I had to realize I had to slow down and observe how everyone, interprets information, how they understand information, how they communicate information as well too. So my biggest lessons for me was definitely leadership. If you guys want to add on for this year.
Yeah, mine was to wake up in the world you're living in.
Yeah.
You guys are like, what is he talking about? Well, if you probably know who I am, obviously. If this is your first podcast, I'm a real estate agent and a trader. And I've spent most of the last decade just really only caring about real estate and my hobbies, gym, golf, whatever, but real estate, buying and selling houses.
It's still the same. He's
still
lying.
The same. No, but I've just kind of gone with the flow, made my money, worked and sold houses. I've never really taken time to stop and pay attention to central bank policy, what's going on in the world around me. I'm just saying.
Interest rates.
It's not
PMI
a long-winded answer.
Numbers.
Yeah, it's a simple answer for me, just to wake up and look at the world I'm living in and how I can capitalize on it. And hopefully share that with my friends around me. And you guys know I try and share. You guys are listening. I share everything I can with you guys. It's because I want you guys to be able to get ahead too. I'm looking for just ways to capitalize, protect myself, really just be informed of what's going on. Because I have just had my head in the clouds for the last 8-9 years of just houses. That's it. Just real estate. I have not really learned about anything else. 2020, I learned a lot. A lot. And I encourage you guys to do the same thing. You don't have to study the same things as me. Just pay attention to what's going on around you, and you'd be surprised what you find out there when you wake up.
Facts.
That's it. What about you, Michael?
One word: fear.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about fear this year. Not just within myself, but within everybody. Sitting back and watching what happened this year. And the fear that it has caused is just, it's indescribable. Because I would never, ever expect that much fear to be had. But there's a ton. And for me, it was the lack of fear. What was it? A few months ago, I left PayPal. That I was very afraid of because I've always had that that income, no matter what, that would be like, hey, this bill would be paid. This bill would be paid, no matter how good or bad that my trading was that week or that month.
You still have.
I always had everything. Now it's like, okay, cool, but I'm good, right? I'm not tripping. So that lack of fear, and then the lack of fear in what's going on outside these doors. I don't give a shit about COVID. Like, that's just me. I do respect it in the sense that it is a virus. Don't get me wrong. It's a little more severe than it's like a more severe flu. That's what I call it. But it still is the flu, right? But to see the games that are being played, the fear, like I said, the fear that's being created and how many followers are out there, it really just opened my eyes as to, like you said, the world that we live in. The world that we live in is not what I would have ever thought 10, 15 years ago, or when I was a kid being scouted by ASU playing baseball, second base or center field, either way. I'm sitting here like, hey, this is my dream to do. I would have never thought that we'd be sitting in a place where 90% of the world is afraid of a virus.
It's weird, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this shit is crazy.
Yep.
This shit is crazy. Like, that's what tells me, like, that's why I was saying, like, what I learned for myself. What I learned for myself and who I've become, a lot of it based on Forex and 2020. 2020 had a huge thing to do with it because I was forced to learn how to work from home, be confined into my room, my office all day 24/7, whether I was working for PayPal or whether I was on the charts. I was in my room, in my office. So I had to learn that. And there's a lot of times where you're like, fuck, I'm by myself. Somebody hop on a Zoom with me, please.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, the ability to get through all that also was a good lesson that I had learned too. So understanding fear, I think, is the best thing.
So another question. How do you stay humble and not spoil yourself too much during the whole come up? Man, I had this question when I made my whole damn video.
The Bentley video?
Yeah, the Bentley video.
Yeah, I figured.
So there's a reason behind I did that video, not just because I wanted to put it out there, because to me, I could care less of getting recognized for anything. I wanted to set an example because I've encountered a lot of people that have made close to 8-9 figures, and I've picked their minds tremendously when I was in my lowest. Paid attention to how people move, how people capitalize when they have had a whole complete turnaround in their life. And the reason why I didn't want to treat myself for so long is because I felt like I didn't deserve it. Like, you know, I wanted people around me to be taken care of first. And that was my first priority over anything. Still like that till this day. Nothing has changed. Just the viewpoint of life is a little bit different. And a lot of people get carried away of having that life because they're not familiar with it. They've never been there before, and which is fine. It's very understandable, but you gotta make sure that you stay in a line of your own path, right? Because you're gonna have people that are not gonna, how could I put this? They're not gonna align to what you have envisioned for yourself, right? So you tend to drift apart from your path. And that's where you lose the humbleness. That's when you start being arrogant. That's when you start down talking to people and thinking that you're better. You know, no one's better than no one. You know, the only problem with a lot of people is that they're just not knowledgeable. That's it. You know, that's the only little bit of separation that we have from amongst anyone else. It's just knowledgeable, right? And you could be disciplined at all because you know how that bottom feels. Everyone should know how a bottom feels. I don't care if you're privileged or not, because you could imagine that being taken away from you and realize, wow, this is not here. You know, how do people that don't have anything go through, right? So anyone can be disciplined, but the most important thing is staying consistent, being disciplined, and that's where the humbleness just carries on. So you carry those values, everything's gonna manifest to what you want to accomplish by doing those three components, you know. And I'm not gonna allow a car or what your bank account looks like, because at the end of the day, that shit everyone has, right? You could go to a different state and that person could have the same car in a different color. The bank account might be a little different. So like, what some of that can take away is how humble you are, how disciplined you are. People look at those traits, and we don't want those to be not to be noticed. It should always be a character that you should always carry yourself. How I look at it is that you want to look at it if your mom is right there at all times. How are you going to be around people? So I know for a fact, majority of a lot of people are not going to act disrespectful. They're not going to appreciate things in life, because your mom is going to be right there. This is the person that gave you life. So that's just how I look at it.
And I think that there's no problem in celebrating your wins.
Yeah, there's no problem. There's no problem. It's just how you go about it. Like, because like you could go and celebrate and this and that. You don't need to broadcast it like if you're a news station.
That's what I was just going to say.
Where a lot of people, right?
That's what I was going to say, is that I think it's how you just carry yourself. So like, I don't mind going to, let's say, the Polo store and dropping $1,000 on some clothes, right? Mm-hmm. But please believe that the person I'm also dropping $1,000 on is my girl, because she's been there every single step of the way. So taking that, but y'all wouldn't even know that I would do that, because I don't, like Ken said, I don't broadcast that shit, right? So if you keep it within your circle, which your circle at this point, if people don't understand, your circle should not be all that big. You should have a decimal point worth of people. Like Drake said, my circle's so small, it's a decimal point, right? So keep your couple of people that are around you. Go ahead and spoil the shit out of yourself, but also make sure that you're taking care of the people around you that you need to take care of, that have been with you every step of the way. Like I take care of my girl, I take care of my mom, I take care of my daughter, right? But I also take care of myself, and I don't sit there on Instagram Live like, oh, I'm in this store dropping this today, right? No, nobody gives a shit about that. Why? Because if I drop $1,000 in a store, guess what? There's going to be someone that's going to drop $2, or someone that's going to drop $4. There's going to be somebody better than me.
There's always going to be
doing more.
There's always going to be someone spending more. Like, so that's why I never will understand why people compete with each other within their lifestyle. Like, everyone's going to be dropping way more than what you're currently dropping right now. So like, the only person that you should be competing is within yourself. Like,
right. And
or
then,
how you could improve the people that's around you that's been rocking with you for so long. Like, that should be the only two components that you should be having, especially on the come up. Like, not like looking that you could just throw money away. What is that going to do? Like, you're just throwing away of your hard work for what? Do you gain any value out of it? No.
Right.
Like,
and consider this as well for those that are curious, because they see, I know it's Instagram stories that prompt some of these questions, right? About the humbleness. Mm-hmm. I don't care who it is. Like, if you also look at what are these people flashing? Is it an asset or a liability?
Yeah.
Because if it's an asset and they may drop, a couple $100,000 on a house, cool. Because you know what? That's going to make them money later on. If you're dropping X amount of dollars on X amount of clothes, cars, or whatever it is, right? And you're just sitting there flashing all this shit. You're not really, what are you showing me? You're getting yourself into debt. What good is that going to do as a liability? Show me that you have assets, right? I'd rather see five pieces of artwork than to see 10 cars in a driveway. It means more. And I could literally say that, okay, I may go drop this much at the Polo store, but this motherfucker over here out here really outdoing everybody.
But that's also, that drives to another question too, because like, I think just so much in our generation, like, people define success of what you drive. Like, and it's so cliche. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been sharing it with you guys. Like, I've been watching all these gold digger pranks on YouTube, and I
love watching those.
They're
funny,
hilarious.
They're
fucking hilarious.
I'm just trying to pick from what a woman's perspective. I'm not judging like on the fact like, oh, like they're attractive to like high standards. If that's you, that's great. But like, people define that as success. Like, let's remember, it's 4 wheels, right? just 4 wheels that are very expensive. And the fact is that it's just like, that shouldn't define a person like, oh, like he gets this car, he gets another car, oh, he must be successful. Like, I feel like with the massive amount of people that we want to be hearing, it's just like, all right, if you're, you know, as successful as you say you are, you know, give value to like how you're like, I want to be approaching, I want to get land, you know, like I want to build a foundation, something like, you know, I don't feel like for the people that are out there doing that, is not enough credit going to those people.
Facts.
Besides the people are just, you know, looking to cap on IG lives and saying this and that, and it's our, you know.
I'll give you a perfect example of this. It's me. I was at that point. Now, if I had IG, let me tell you, back then it was MySpace.
Yeah,
they didn't have MySpace Live.
I never even had a MySpace.
Music?
Yeah, they didn't have MySpace Live or anything like that. So they just literally had MySpace, right? No Instagram, no Facebook Live, no nothing. Yeah. But if they had it, oh, please believe I'd be on there. I was a 19-year-old driving a 2003 Lexus IS 300.
That was a cool car.
Oh, it was a beautiful car. Everywhere I would go, I had the interior lights all red, right? So I would drive around with the whole interior lit up red. It was a charcoal gray. It was my favorite shit that I had ever had in the world. I go to the club. Oh, you got the Lexus. Oh, let's take a ride in the Lexus. Yo, can I drive? I lived with my mother.
Yeah.
But you'd have never known that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's because I put that as a priority. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was a perfect example of that, where it was about the 4 wheels that are getting you from A to B. Yeah. Now I drive a fucking Camry.
Yeah. A gangster Camry.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that, yes, 4 wheels should not define who you are. Let my family define who I am and how I take care of them. I have a fucking home that I can sell for $300,000 and almost triple what I paid for it. Right? That's an asset.
Yeah.
That's something to be proud of. But as far as cars go, I'm good.
Yeah. Like, out of all the cars that I have, like, my BMW is my favorite car.
Profits is the best.
Yeah, I love that car. Like,
you guys haven't even seen the best car he has. It's by far the best.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to be humble. Nope. If you have, it's never been, I mean, you guys are watching, you guys don't really know that much about me. You really don't.
No.
Like, you guys know, but on Instagram, you don't know really that, you know, I sell real estate and trade. But there's nothing else on there. You maybe know what kind of car I have, just a BMW. Nothing crazy.
They may see the views from the pool upstairs.
That's it. But it's really not that.
And I feel like a lot of people like cloud the judgment of just Instagram, because like I've asked a few people, and not like I care what people think of how I portray myself online, like, you know, but like a lot of people be like, yeah, like make assumptions before even getting to know. Like, you know, if like they see like, you know, you're posting whatever, that's who you are. Like, you know, and it's just like, no, that's not who I am. It's not what I portray to be. Like, I could be exactly who I am. I have no insecurities. I have no comfort zone. So it's just like a lot of people on the platforms are so insecure within themselves that it's an obligation for them to be what they're supposed to be on Instagram. Like, you know, so it's just like, you know, if you're letting like social media platforms getting the best out of you, then, you know, you might miss out on meeting a person that could be potentially the person that you wanted to be with, you know, for the rest of your life. Or you could have met like an amazing friend that could have went out your way to do a lot of things. So it's so much misleading information, which I'm not going to really dive into because I could really talk about this all day.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's just like, don't see for Instagram for their pictures, whatever. Like, if you're gonna really reach out, you know, generally reach out. Like, if you're like just outside and you're like, oh hey, someone that picked up an interest for a conversation starter, like, you know, and then go along with it. Like, but in our generation, people don't know how to have conversations. Like, they do not know. Like,
they know how to hit
emoji. They put a fire emoji on a picture, or they'll slide in your DM and where's the invite? Like, where's hi, bye? Like, you know, what's your name? Like,
hey, let's be aware.
A lot of people's IG handles is not even their name. It could be something else, right?
Let's be aware of these guys that just say
I'm just
hi.
trying to give awareness out to a lot of people.
So some of these ones that just say hi, that you have to go back and you have to look, and it's like, oh well, I'm a Bitcoin trader. They always start out.
I get
hi.
a lot of
Don't get me to invest in this shit. I know what I'm doing already.
And then the best when people are trying to get to know you on IG, they have no profile pictures, right?
Yeah.
They have something named with 4 numbers behind it.
I called somebody out like that, and they were an actual
hey,
person.
Alex, like, how's your day going? And,
I roast them.
And then they expect a response,
every
right?
time so hard, especially when it's about trading. I roast them so hard. They're like, hey, how would you like to make money trading? I'm like, oh, tell me more. I've done this 3. Oh man, it's so much fun.
So
I love it.
I did that a couple weeks ago. I kind of felt bad because like this person only had like 30 total followers and following. Right between both, it was a total of like 30.
Yeah.
No profile picture, no post yet. So I actually took the conversation and I said, "Is this a scammer or what?" Like, and people were like, "Oh, it's a scam. It's a scam."
Yeah.
The person actually hit me back and they were like, "I don't know what I did to you, but I'm not a scammer."
Oh
man. They were like,
Michael.
Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to be aware sometimes. You got to be aware sometimes, you know, like that, you know, if the person also said, look, I understand where you're coming from by looking at my profile page, but I just wanted to pass along some information to you that might have been helpful anyway. So, I mean, we had a good conversation. I apologize for it. But at the same time, you have to be aware of that. Like, there's a lot of people that when you sit there with a profile picture like that, or like no activity, it's like, well, who the hell are you and what are you trying to get from me first?
Yeah. And that goes like at the end of the day, like protecting your energy. Like, and that's something that I'm trying to move forward because like, you know, I do take the time to like, you know, respond as too much, well, to everyone as much as possible. So like, you know, you're not obligated to respond to a lot of people, especially knowing me. You guys know I hate small talk with a full passion. If this is not a conversation that I feel like it's going to provide any kind of value or long term, I don't want to hear about it. Do not care. I'm not going to be like, hey, how's your day? Because that conversation just died and ended, right? So you're not obligated to like respond to everybody. You're here to actually protect your own energy, right? So just because a person is sliding in your DM and they're answering a question, which is not going to provide any value, you're not entitled to respond. Usually I just delete the message and not even look at it because like we get that kind of like that anxiety to like, oh, you feel like you need to answer that notification. It's bothering me. You got that blue dot in the corner. You got to respond to it. Like, no, like you got to protect your own energy at the end of the day because you know, people are gonna come in your life, you know, for a purpose, or they're gonna come for a distraction. So like, you gotta protect your energy at all times. You know, if that person is really looking to seek value and information, then by all means respond. But if it's not, if it's just, you know, try to get to know you through Instagram, look, I don't have time. No one should have time for that. Like, if you want to meet, let's do it how we do it back in the day. Meet up, get some coffee, lunch, whatever.
Facts.
And
like
go from there. Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Shop, you know.
Y'all trying to get to know Ken. Guess how I met him? Because I was like, yo, this guy
ready
likes
for the
to work
gym
out.
with my
like,
short shorts. So
straight up. I was like, I think I might have to teach this guy how to work out. He's looking a little small.
Oh my God. Man.
That is how we met. I was like, all right, these guys look like cool. We should go work out.
He didn't even
sometime.
want to sit near me. He was sitting so far away. He was like, fuck, man. Because then he saw my brother too. So it was a 2-for-1 package.
I was like, whoa, I didn't know 2 of them were coming.
Right.
Shit.
It was 2.
Not 1, but 2.
Chop shop.
Yep.
I'm weak.
Yep. Yeah. So that kind of really wraps up our Q&A for episode
Good questions.
49.
Good stuff from you guys.
Great questions. And I give a big shout out to the IG crowd out there because it wasn't, hey, what's
I'm
gold
so
gonna
happy
do?
you guys are going to ask, what's happened to GU? Is it going up?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to answer that.
Those are great questions, and I think we wrapped up 2020 pretty well. I just want people to be aware of 2021 because if they think that 2020 was a doozy, 2021 is going to be just as bad for at least the first half.
Honestly,
Till the dust settles with this vaccine shit.
The best advice is just trying to invest into anything that's passive, anything that's online. I've seen a good amount of people that we all know like creating online businesses, which is great, phenomenal. If you guys are looking to create any traditional businesses, I highly suggest that you should back away. because everything's gonna be online driven.
Don't open a restaurant.
Yeah, unless the food is fire, because someone gotta go eat somewhere, get gains. But I highly suggest that you guys should invest, get involved in trading. Doesn't matter what kind of trading that you're getting involved with, within stocks. You got option trading, you got Forex, you got automation stores. So like there's a lot of opportunities. Just do your research and capitalize, because we are heading into that era where everything is going to be online.
Yep.
And there's nothing that you guys could do about it, because we're just going to where the demand is. You guys watch Amazon took off, Jeff Bezos chilling, didn't do nothing, got a divorce and still made more money. Like that's wild to me. Like, so.
She took half. Whatever.
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say for
upcoming
2021. Get that money up, spend time and pursue that freedom, and design your life how you want it.
Yep. You guys have till Monday to make some decisions on what you guys want to do, because Monday is going to be it.
Yeah. Make sure it's not a tequila bottle either. So
yeah.
I'm watching you, students in the academy.
Or it could be. So.
Yeah.
All right. That's a wrap.
I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And also, do not forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you comment on whether that you guys like Alex and Michael's feedback on this episode. And we also have I wouldn't even want to talk about the flash sale, because this is not going to be posted 31st. But we're going to have our 5-day course. Make sure you guys get registered. We'll put that in the description on getting plugged into our website. And then there it is.
Yo, happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy
Stay
safe out there.
safe.
Yep.
And let's make it a good new year in 2021.